Nearly 12 years ago, Tesla CEO Elon Musk published his master plan. His company would build high-end EVs that would eventually fund the production of an affordable family car. Now that car is here. This is the Tesla Model 3. It's the $35,000 Tesla. That's less than half the price of the Model S, which starts at $74,500. Now, I really like driving this car. This car is fun behind the wheels. It's nimble, it's quick, it puts a smile on my face. But I am confused by some of the decisions Tesla made while building it. Behind the wheel, I prefer this car to the Model S and the Model X. Now, it doesn't have falcon wing doors, it doesn't have neck snapping speed, but what it lacks in ostentatious styling and incredible 0 to 60 times, it makes up for in nimbleness and moxie. Tesla gave us the long-range version of the Model 3. Now, it has a single electric motor that pushes out 271 horsepower and 307 foot-pounds of torque. That means it's quick off the line, and it's a lot more nimble, it's a lot more fun to drive than the Model S or the Model X, because those two, they're kind of handicapped with the added heft of how big those cars are. This, on the other hand, feels light, it feels nimble. It's a pleasure to drive on the freeway, around the neighborhood, and even on mountain roads. But you came here for the tech, and there is so much tech. The Model 3 doesn't have a key or a key fob in a traditional sense. Instead, it has this, a black card that you just place against the B-pillar. There you go. Plus, you just place it right here in the center console, and that's how you start the car, even though you can't hear it. But you don't even have to do that if you pair your phone with the Tesla app and the card and the car. With that, using Bluetooth, when you walk up to the vehicle, it'll just unlock. And when you sit down, you can just drive. Of course, it's a good idea to keep this black card in your wallet or purse at all times. In 2 instances, even though I had my phone on me, I needed this to start the car. But once you're in the car, some of the items you've become accustomed to in a vehicle, they're just not there. And that's where the frustration comes in. I love a car with a clean design aesthetic. And at first glance, the sparseness of the Model 3, it's serene. It's just nice, big piece of wood. There's nothing up here. There's nothing in your way, just this giant display. But it's a bit like one of those houses where it's so sparse, there's nowhere to sit. And really, no one wants to visit the guy who doesn't have any chairs. The centerpiece of this stripped down cockpit is the 15-inch touchscreen display that hovers in front of the dashboard. It is the home of most of the vehicle's controls, and that's where most of the things can get annoying. Tesla has removed all physical controls except for these 2 stalks on the steering column and these 2 sort of bally wheels on the steering wheel. That means there's no real physical control for climate control. There's nothing for the headlight switch. There's no physical control for the side mirrors. There's no cruise control adjustment. There's no trip reset. You don't even have a drive mode control. It's all taken care of by the display. That brings up issues with adjusting things while driving. In my own car, or even in a rental or a review car, after a few days, I can adjust the wipers or the adaptive cruise control follow distance without actually looking. In the Model 3, I have to tap on this car icon, then I have to tap on autopilot, and then I have to tap to increase or decrease the follow distance. And if I want to turn off the navigation voice control, I have to reach way over here to do that. Meanwhile, the wiper controls, they require a few taps to adjust the speed. Now, the vehicle does have automatic wipers, which do work, but during a recent rainstorm, it seems to have taken, well, too long in my opinion for them to engage. Now, there are wiper controls on the stock over here, but they currently only set the wiper to either A, clean the windshield, or B, do 1 swipe. But this is an opportunity to see where Tesla shines. They are already working on an update that'll come over the air that you can control turning the wipers on and off with this button. One thing the company told me that it is going to change already is it's going to add the ability to adjust the speed of cruise control to this right button. So you can scroll up to go a little bit quicker, scroll down to go a bit slower, which is better than the current situation where I have to peck to go, let's say I want to do top speed of 67. Let me back down to 65 so the cops don't get me. But I'm over here pecking like a bird to make this happen. The moral of the story is, if enough Model 3 owners think something needs to be fixed and it can be accomplished with a software upgrade, Tesla might make it happen. The problem is there's not going to be enough hardware buttons to take on a lot of the issues people may have with the display UI. And then you have to deal with the fact that there's people like myself who actually enjoy physical buttons in a car. Fortunately, the voice control is top notch. It even picks up when I flub things, and I typically flub things when I use voice control. Navigate to the Umpire State Building. It's so good that I wish they would expand it beyond navigation, media playing, and phone calls into doing something like replying to text messages. If it did that, it would almost make up for the fact that Tesla still doesn't support Android Auto and CarPlay. Almost. Another thing that's missing, and it's, well, kind of an important thing, is there's no center dash cluster. What you usually have in, well, every car you've ever owned, it's usually here. Now it's over here and the left-hand side of the display. So you have your speedometer, you have what gear you're in, you have the speed limit, and of course, because it's a Tesla, your vehicle and how it sees the world and how its sensors are seeing the world. And I have to say, I'm not a fan. I do own a Mini Cooper that does have the speedometer in the center right here. And I have to say that I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I do not like it. So having it over here in the Tesla, I'm not a fan. I'm sure that there are scientists who could tell us whether or not looking down and to the right or down in front, if it takes a little bit longer, if it adds extra strain to your eyes. There's researchers somewhere doing important work like that. But for me, I kind of wish there was an option for at least a heads-up display. That's all I want. That lack of a center dash cluster hasn't kept Tesla from taking about 500,000 pre-orders for the Model 3. And Mini's been doing pretty well for itself without a Speedo in the middle. I mean, I bought one. A lot of people signed up for the car based on the $35,000 price tag of the entry-level Model 3. But that price can quickly skyrocket. Autopilot will add an additional $5,000 to the sticker price. This amazing glass roof is part of a $5,000 package that includes a better sound system, power adjustable and heated seats, LED fog lamps, and other items. Any color besides black will cost you $1,000. And of course, there's the $9,000 premium for the extended range version. It has a range of 310 miles versus the base level, which is 220 miles. It's also quicker both on the road with a 0 to 60 in 5.2 versus 5.6 seconds, and while charging. It'll get 170 miles of range in 30 minutes versus 130 miles in 30 minutes. With that in mind, the car behind me is $57,500. That's over $20,000 more than the base model. Fortunately, all those prices are before federal and state tax credits. And even if you strip away all the extras, the fancy roof and the extended range battery, I really like driving this car, and I don't think that getting something that's a little less powerful like the base model would really take anything away from that. I enjoy driving this vehicle in the mountains, in the city, on the freeway. It's just a fun car to drive, which makes this situation so infuriating. This car could be nearly perfect and worth the anticipation, the hype, and the huge pre-sale numbers. The Model 3 isn't just important for Tesla, it's important for the entire industry. This is the vehicle that's going to push EVs into the mainstream and places outside of, well, San Francisco. And yet, Tesla made interface decisions things that are simple in most cars, they're frustratingly complex in the Model 3. Yes, the company is ironing out the kinks right now, but when the world is watching, and the world is most definitely watching, you want to get things right on the first try. Hopefully in the future, the interface that this amazing car deserves will make it in production.